and welcome back to my channel. Today I am in a bit of a different angle because I would like to share with you all my pen collection and storage. So I'm not going to go through and actually test out or swatch each one of these pens, but if that's something you guys would like me to do, please let me know in the comment section down below and give this video a thumbs up, and I'll know that we have some specific interest in me going through and swatching all of these pens, markers, and pencils. I really wanted to share with you the containers that I use for storage because it did take quite some time to look through Amazon and to find ones that would really work for my setup. So I will go ahead and show you my whole setup right now in terms of this table, and then directly to the right over there outside of the camera is where I usually do my filming, so I will show you that as well. So I'm going to start over here on the top left-hand corner. On the top left-hand corner here I have my purple Montblanc, which I keep in the container. If you've watched any of my other videos, especially my pen videos, you'll know that this was something that I got as a wedding gift, and I don't really use it just because it is rather thick and heavy, and it's just not my favorite pen to write with, but it is this purple leather and amethyst Montblanc pen, a ballpoint pen that I don't use as frequently as I use my fountain pen. So I'll go ahead and show you that as well. I keep this one on the top left-hand side. Over here on these left-hand drawers, I have these Pilot Feud pens. These Petite fountain pens are actually Feud pens. They're tiny little brush pens. If you can see the tip right there, and I have everything separated by color. So here on the top drawer, or in the top drawer, I have pink, orange, and yellow. Then under there I have a blue and a green. Under there I have a navy blue, a black, and a black blue. In this drawer I keep my erasers. So I have a Frixion eraser that's back here. This is a large Frixion eraser, and then here I have a large Pentel white eraser here that I use for pencils, and this is a Lego eraser that I stole from my son because this white eraser is actually really, really good, and he got a set that came with two, so I stole one. Under there I have a correction pen, a Pentel correction pen, as well as a Frixion stamp. It's red with a little exclamation mark. Here is the rechargeable cartridge for my Montblanc fountain pen, and here are my cartridge inserts for that pen, and that pen lives over there on the right hand side. Here on the bottom I have my Frixion pen refills, so I usually use 0.38 or 0.5, so I keep all of my refills there at the bottom left hand corner. Up here I keep my SD cards or my memory cards, and this is just a tea light holder that I got from IKEA. I have a lot of them throughout my house, and I use them as containers for small things like this. Going straight down, you'll see that I have it stratified by color. So I have red, orange, dark green, a lighter green, dark blue, lighter blue, dark purple, lighter purple, and kind of the hot pink, light pink. This is where it gets a little subjective in how I differentiate that. On the very bottom here, I have my Crayola Super Tips. I have pinks, reds, and oranges over here. And on this section, I keep greens, yellows, and browns. So just to do a quick review of what I have in each of them, I'm going to go ahead and pull those out. I'm going to show you the pens that I have in red, and then I will only review pens in the other color schemes if they're unique to that color scheme. So I'll tell you all the pens that I have, and then if I have something else that I don't have in red, I'll go ahead and highlight that as well. This is the Pilot Varsity Pen. It is a fountain pen. Other than my Montblanc, which I don't take out with me often or all the time, these are my favorite fountain pens. They are disposable, they are fairly inexpensive, and I generally buy them in a pack of 10, I believe. Then here is a zebra mild liner in that kind of tomato color. Here is a Tombow twin tone pen. These pens have a fine liner on one side and then a larger marker tip. Next up, I have this Pilot Color Eno in 0.7. This is actually a colored pencil, and I haven't used it very much. Let's see if I can get the point out. It is a very, very thin, there you go, color point. And I haven't used these, as I said. I'm very intrigued by colored pencils. Hopefully I just don't fall down that rabbit hole. Here is one of the pens that started it all. At the very beginning, I pretty much had a limited collection of pens, but I did have all of the Frixion pens in the 0.5 size. This was actually one of the first presents my husband ever purchased for me. And then shortly after that, he purchased the set of, I think it was 30 of these 0.38s. So I have quite a bit of them, but this is the Pilot Frixion Ball Slim in 0.38 in the red color. Yet another Frixion. This is the Frixion Color Sticks, also in red. This is a 0.7. So this tip is much larger. The next guy is a Papermate Ink Joy Gel Pen in 0.7. Next up is the Le Pen pen, which is, I believe, a 0.5, but it is a very, very tiny fine liner. Next are my Pentel Touch Sign pens. These are brush pens, and this is actually my favorite type of brush pen. And last but not least, in this red collection is this Pilot V Razor Point Extra Fine, and this is also a fine liner. It came in a package of, I believe it was 9 colors, and I have all the colors except black. So I'm going to go through the orange pens and look at whether or not there's anything different. Here I have 3 Frixion color sticks. I have the 0.5 Frixion as well as 2 of the 0.38 Frixions. I have several of the mild liners, and I also have several of the Tombow dual tips. So this gives you an idea of the range of the Frixion line, because not only does it have the red, but then it has 2 oranges. And the 0.5 has a little bit less in terms of color range because it just has the 1 orange. But it also has several color sticks. Up here is a Pentel sign pen, and down here is a Le Pen pen as well. So you can see several of the pens that I have in red, I also have in orange. Moving down to the dark green, I see that I have a Pilot Inkjoy pen, a color stick, several Frixions, another Le Pen pen, another Razor V fine liner, but then I have some unique pens in this green color range that I'm going to pull out. Over here is another Inkjoy, a Tombow dual brush pen, or actually a Tombow twin tone pen, and here's a Pentel sign pen, and then here are some unique pens that I have in this color scheme. This guy here is a Pentel metallic pen, and it is in 0.8. I do recall these being rather expensive when I purchased them, and I just don't think that they're necessarily worth the amount of money I paid for them. I think it might have been, like, it was definitely more than $10, maybe $18 for a pack of 8 or so, but I find that they have a lot of skippage, and I'm a lefty, so writing across the page also is a problem with this because it doesn't dry very quickly, but it does have a really, really cool dark green metallic ink in it. Next, I have the Prismacolor Premier Brush Pen in this kind of dark teal color. And that is what the brush looks like. I really, really like this brush tip, and I wish I could get more of them. They're a little bit on the expensive side, so that's why that's the only one that I have in my collection, but I really, really enjoy the writing experience with that one. Next up is this pen that I'm not even going to try to pronounce. It's Kuretake, and I got this when I went to a letter writing course in a local stationery shop here in Honolulu, and they had several pens that they gave each of the students, and this was one of them, and I really enjoyed the writing experience with that as well. Moving on to the light green side, I see that here I have the Tombow twin tone pen again. I have a Le Pen pen, a Frixion, the Zebra mild liner. Here is another one of those NO colored pencils. Here is another of the Varsity, Pilot Varsity fountain pens. Here is a Ink Joy. Up here we have another mild liner, another Frixion color stick. And then these two are the new introductions here in the light green. So this light green is a Pilot G207. For those of you who saw my original pen collection, you know that this was my original love. When I first started working in an office, this was my pen of choice, and I was so possessive over my pens that I actually wrote like a little label with J on them, and I keep those just to remember my first job. But I do have a set of these pens in this pastel color scheme, and this is the light green. I also have a Faber-Castell in that mint green, light green color. I have a set of pastels in this particular marker. I also really enjoy the writing experience with this type of marker, and I actually like these smaller, harder markers better than the Tombow dual brush pens. Coming down here, this one is extra stuffed. This happens to be my favorite color as well, this really, really rich royal blue. So if I have one-offs, I'm more likely to have them in this kind of rich blue color. Over here, it looks like for the most part, we have the Varsity Pilot, Frixion, another Tombow, the colored pencil, Frixion, a Le Pen pen, a Frixion again, a Ink Joy, another Tombow, here another Ink Joy, a color stick, another Frixion, the Pilot V razor or 5 razor, the extra fine point. Here is the blue metallic. This is the same pen that I have in green that I showed you earlier. That gray top is the Pentel sign pen, and here I also have an additional Faber-Castell brush pen in this kind of, not really pastel, but a different type of, or a different tone of blue. The one pen that I have here that I haven't already reviewed with you is this Prismacolor Primer 0.01. It is a very, very, very thin fine liner. As you can see, the camera could barely pick it up. It is very, very small, and I picked this up because I thought it was a brush pen. I thought it was kind of like this green brush pen that I showed you, but I did not see that it was 001, and now I kind of really like it. Moving on over here to the light blue, I have Frixion Pilot, Le Pen, another Varsity, one of the pastel Pilot G7s, the colored pencils, some mild liners, the Pentel sign pen, the Ink Joy, another brush pen, and here I have another Frixion, and this is the only guy in this section that I haven't showed you already. So this is a Pure Color Sealand RF. This is another marker that I got in my handwriting course. So it has a kind of a fat tip on one end, a larger marker tip, and then here it has a fine liner tip. So it's very similar to the Tombow twin tone pens, where it has a thicker tip on one side and then a fine liner on the other. So moving down to the purple pens, here on the dark purple pens, I have the Pilot Razor Point. Here I have some Frixion, a color stick, the Varsity fountain pens, the Pentel sign pen, one of the twin tone pens, a colored pencil again, some more Frixions, color stick, and Ink Joy. And I have the same things going across here for the light purple, another Frixion, a mild liner, a Faber-Castell, one of the G7 pastel colors, a lighter Le Pen pen. Here are the fine liners. Over here is the purple version of that metallic pen that I have been showing you, and a color stick. Moving on to the pinks, they're also going to be things that you have already seen. So here is the twin tone, some Frixions, two Le Pens, another one of the Pentel metallics, some more Frixion pens, the Faber-Castell, some more mild liners, and also the Pentel sign pen and that razor point. Here in the lighter purple, we're gonna have more of the same, except down here you have the 2 ink joys, some more Frixions, the Pilot Varsity, the twin tone pens, the color stick, and another fine liner. Down at the bottom, we've already discussed that those are the Crayola Super Tips. Now here in the middle, I have another kind of interesting setup. These are the same drawers that I have over here, but I have put my Ted Baker colored pencils here in the middle, and I've tried to divide them by color. So up here I have the pink and the red, over here I have the green, the blues, and the golds, and down here I have the grays and the very, very light pink. So if I need a pencil, I just pull it out. They look like this. I did just like a mini review of them, where I definitely did an unboxing of these that I received for my birthday this year. I'm gonna zoom you into this top corner right here. Oh, let me grab all of these guys. Over here I have a Frixion pen, and this one is like my professional pen that I used to use at work. This is my very favorite work pen in terms of ballpoint pen, because usually I use Frixion pens at work, but if I am going to be using a ballpoint pen, I do use this one. It's a Swarovski crystal one, and the very top is this kind of like lilac-y purple. I have no idea what kind of pen this is, but I received it in a planner box that I received a few months ago. It's just a regular ballpoint pen, but has a very nice smooth black line when it writes. This guy is my Montblanc fountain pen. It is the Petite Prince fountain pen. I've done a full video on this guy, so let's see if I can get it in focus again. And it does screw on, and that is my Montblanc. And over here is another guy that I'm sure will have issues getting into focus, but oh, there we go. It is my Ted Baker, also fountain pen. This guy unscrews this way, and then you place him in like that. And then it has a gold point that looks like that. This guy is rechargeable through ink cartridges that it came with. And now we're a little bit close up, so I can show you some of the gold pens. So over here, it's the same kind of rose gold pen that I have already showed you. Over here is a 1.5. It's a thick Faber-Castell marker in rose gold. This guy is the Uni-Ball Gel Impact, also in gold. This one is the same metallic that I've already showed you. This is a G7, also in gold. And this is a new addition to my collection. So this guy, the brand is Kirarina, Wink. And this is also a really thick marker. It has a nice high impact, very, very opaque gold. Surprisingly, here in the yellow, there's a lot of things that you've already seen. The Frixion color sticks, the Ink Joy, more Frixion color sticks, more mild liners, more of the Pentel sign pens. Here is a colored pencil, here's the G7, and here is a Faber-Castell brush pen, so nothing new there. In the browns, I was surprised I had this many browns, but I have 2 Frixions, I have a Le Pen, I have an Ink Joy, I have the sign pen, the razor point, more Frixions, and more of these mild liners. Over here are my grays. As you can see, I do have a good amount of grays. I have several brush pens from Faber-Castell because my husband purchased a pack of all grays for me for my birthday earlier this year. And then I also have this jelly roll, which is a throwback to my high school days where I had lots and lots of jelly rolls. And now I only have one jelly roll, this one in the silver. Then let's see what else I have here is the G7. I have that metallic pen that we've already talked about, so nothing new here. My white pens, I have 2 of the G7s. I have another of the jelly rolls here in white. Then I have some pens that have white cases, but they're not actually white. Here is just another jelly roll. This is a Frixion pen that I fill with black ink, but my husband got me a set of this kind of checkerboard pastel cases for my Frixion cartridges. It's a 0.5 Frixion that I usually fill with black ink, but it has a white body, so I like to have it over there with the white pens. And over here I have a Muji pen in blue that's 0.5. It's the only Muji pen that I have, so because it has a white body and because my dark blue section is already packed to the brim, I keep that here. Over here you can see that it is emptier than the other containers here, and it's mostly because I always use my black pens, so I don't always keep them here. I have my Faber-Castell pens. Here I have the extra small and the small. I also have the fine and the medium, but those are currently in my bullet journal. Over here I have the Pigma Micron pens. Currently in the storage I have 01, 03, and 08, but I do have 05, and that one is also in my bullet journal. Over here on the right I have my Tombow Fudanusky pens. I have the hard tip and the soft tip. I'm always confused as to which one is which, but one of them has a navy blue body and the other one has a black body. So moving down just a little bit further here, I have some Frixion ink cartridges because, as I said, I usually use the 0.05s, and I have several of these empty kind of bodies in which I can put these cartridges in. I also have here a Crazy Art green marker that I also got when I went to that lettering course. And down here I have the gray Tombow dual brush pens, the blenders of the Tombow dual brush pens, and the blacks and grays for the Crayola super tips that I keep in the bottom. Speaking of the Tombow dual brush pens, that is the very end of my storage over here. I have them also kind of separated by color. I might just integrate them over here for into my Crayola super tips. The primary problem that I have with that, I'll just take this purple and put it with the purple, is that they are so much larger, like they're so much longer than the super tips, that it's just like not visually pleasing to me, and I really enjoy looking at my pens. So when something is just gonna like irk me, I decide not to do that. So here on the top I have the Stabilos, which I also decided not to integrate into this, but mostly because I'm not sure if I'm going to be keeping the Stabilos or not. So this is kind of like a temporary like probation area for my pens. To the right is generally where I do my recording. As I'm recording this, I'm not really recording over there. That is my moose mug where I keep my rulers and tweezers that I may need while I'm filming Plan With Me's, which I generally do in that area over there. And then if I need pens, I just move myself over to here and grab what I need. So that's about it for today, guys. I am going to leave the different links to the different storage systems that I have in the description box below. You should know that this is one piece, this is another piece, and then that last section at the end is a third piece. So this is actually 3 pieces where the drawer is connected to the other 2 rows, and at the end that little section is also not connected, so that does come apart. So I will be linking those in the description box down below. If you have any questions, please feel free to leave them in the comments section, and until next time, guys, I hope this video brought you some utility and joy.